What is the wittiest comeback you've ever said or heard?
Unit secretary at the ER I used to work at was an absolute treasure. One of the funniest people I've known and took no shit. One day a surgeon who was huge asshole was yelling at her over something completely outside her control. She just got up and walked away without saying anything. Dude proceeded to lose his shit even more. One of the ER docs saw her in the supply room, asked where she went. She replied I was going to find who he was talking to like that, cause I knew it wasn't me.
Once I had to call a coworker who had called out sick to ask him a quick question. As the call ended, I jokingly said, "You know, you don't sound very sick." Without skipping a beat, he said, "Well, you don't sound like a fucking doctor." I think about that often.
Alex Capranos, frontman for Franz Ferdinand, had someone reply to a tweet of his with, "I had to Google you." He replied, "I had to Google you too. Unfortunately, nothing came up."
Context: I'm a gymnastics coach, and sometimes I like to be melodramatic to make my students laugh. Some of them like to match my energy on it. I had the following interaction with a 9-year-old. Emmy: "Hey, you got a problem?" Her: looks me up and down, then crosses her arms. "Yeah, I got a problem." Emmy: "Well, I got a problem, and it's 4 feet tall and wearing a pink leotard." Her, without taking so much as 1 nanosecond to think about it: "Well, at least your problem's pretty."
Maybe not the wittiest, but it still makes me laugh when I remember. My brother was maybe 12-ish and his front tooth was twisted sideways. We got into an argument and I said, "Yeah, well, at least I don't have a twisted tooth." He said, "You know I'm getting it fixed soon, but you'll always have that head." He won because it made me laugh at my own dumb self.
Sitting around the campfire in the Sierras on a natural history field trip, one student was complaining loudly that his girlfriend was not around on the field trip. Another student, fed up with the complaining, asked, "What's the matter? You couldn't get her inflated at this altitude? Deadly."
We're in snow country at a friend's for the holidays, bunch of people over. News ticker announces snow tonight, 7 to 8 expected. My buddy yells to his wife, "You hear that, honey? You're getting 7-8 inches tonight." Reply comes around the corner near instantly, "Why is someone else coming over?" We all died laughing.
When Lady Astor told Churchill, "If you were my husband, I'd poison your tea," he famously retorted, "Madam, if I were your husband, I'd drink it."
We had this terminally stupid person who always rolled their eyes at others' opinions. One day someone had enough and blurted out, "Keep rolling your eyes. Maybe you'll find a brain back there." Mic drop office moment.
Overly condescending boss looking over my work. "Can I ask a stupid question? Me on my last week at that job, you seem qualified."
I was the youngest of 3 girls, and my older sisters teased me relentlessly. When I got my first period, my oldest sister said she was going to put up a sign on the corner that said, "Opk got her period this month." I said, "That's fine. I'll put up a sign next to it that says sister didn't get her period this month."
At a London tavern long ago, the writer Samuel Johnson was confronted by some personal rival who snarled, "You shall die of a pox, sir, or on the gallows." To which Johnson immediately replied, "That depends, sir, on whether I embrace your mistress or your principles."
In the car, and my 14-year-old daughter had her phone connected to the stereo. Some song came on that was pretty sexually explicit. I told her I didn't want her to listen to stuff like that, and at bare minimum she should try to avoid playing it when we were around. She started to argue and complain, so finally I said, "Fine, listen to whatever you want, but whatever I hear in your music I'm going to do to your mother." Without missing a beat, she said, "Hey Siri, play a song about divorce."
I read this on here. Said by a professor to his student, "I look at your test scores and I think you should marry rich. Then I look at your face and I think you should study harder."
When a British captive officer taunted Surcouf with the words, "You French fight for money while we fight for honor," Surcouf replied, "Each of us fights for what he lacks most. I heard it here."
Worked a security job with my father. A gentleman who definitely did not belong in the restricted area wanted to get past our security checkpoint. When we denied him entrance, he got pissed and yelled, "Do you know who I am?" Without missing a beat and with an Oscar-worthy performance of concerned bystander, my father says, "Why? Have you forgotten? Would you like me to call an ambulance?" I followed my father's lead and played it straight-faced, but I really struggled to hold in my laughter.
Peter Griffin, you better watch who you're calling a child Lois. Cause if I'm a child, you know what that makes you. A pedophile. And I'll be damned if I'm gonna stand here and be lectured by a pervert.
This kid Tucker in elementary school kept teasing me saying, "Hope rhymes with dope." I responded with, "Oh yeah, what does Tucker rhyme with?" His face got very red and he stormed off crying.
This will get buried, but there was a famous court case in which W. Liam F. Buckley was called as an expert witness for a court case. Upon cross-examination, the rival lawyer waved a dictionary in the air, saying, "Have you ever even read a dictionary, sir?" To which Buckley replied, accurately, that he had written the foreword to the very dictionary the lawyer was holding.
My friend in a checkout lane at a Trader Joe's when another very bubbly checker opens a lane and calls him over with, "I can help you over here, mister." "Man, sir," his reply, "please, Mr. Man, sir, is my father."
In university, while I was in a course, I just put my head down for a bit and closed my eyes. I wasn't asleep or anything, but a few minutes later, Prof calls my name and says, "Stop falling asleep," and I jolt back up. The next class, she asks us, "What makes a good quality course?" People were giving answers, and I decided to put my hand up. She calls on me and I say, "It won't make you fall asleep." It took a second, but the whole class just erupts laughing. Then she ended up laughing too and says, "I deserved that."
Journalist, what do you think of Western civilization? Gandhi, I think it would be a good idea.
A man at work said something out of line, and when there was absolutely no reaction from the female employee, he laughed and said, "She didn't even hear me." She turned back to him and said, "No, I heard you, but you're not my teenage son. You're my co-worker. It isn't my job to correct your ignorance. It was your mother's, and apparently she failed you."
My mom called me a little son of a bitch once, and I shot back, "No, I'm the daughter of one." Just a straight-up zinger and perfect timing too. I remember my dad slowly sitting up and locking eyes with me over the back of the sofa like, "Ooh, you're fucked now, and I'm not helping you." I got smacked in the mouth for that one, but it was kinda worth it.
I'm 65, so riding a BMX always looked kinda awkward. I was riding down the street and some doofus said, "Hey, why don't you get an adult-sized bike?" I shot back with, "Hey, why don't you get an adult-sized penis?" And kept riding. I heard his friends laughing at him.
That work. The Stones song Beast of Burden is playing overhead. My female coworker is singing along with the pretty pretty girls part, and she says, "Pretty pretty girls. Hey, did you guys know this song's about me?" Instantly my buddy Mike, "Which one are you, a beast or a burden?"
I was working at a Walmart in college. The head customer service manager came around to take out some of my money from my register. She was 5 or 6 years older, was generally crabby and not very nice to people. The store was chilly that day, and she said, "It's colder than a witch's tit in here." I had never heard the phrase before, but just being friendly, I replied, "That's pretty cold." She gave me a scowl and gruffly said, "How would you know?" I promptly replied, "You haven't met my girlfriend." I got a nice solid laugh from her. One of the few interactions I ever had with her.
It wasn't exactly a comeback, but I made a man fall to the floor at a job decades ago. We had a new supervisor coming in, and whoever was informing us said, "He likes to be called Goose." And I replied, "Then he'd better refer to me as Horsecock." I don't even know where it came from, but this absolutely miserable man, around 20 years or more older than me, just fell to floor laughing hysterically.
I once saw a guy quit a job because the foreman was all over him about not working fast enough. "I only work at one speed, $12 an hour," and then just walked out.
When I was about to have my first child, one of my buddies made a joke that I look like the type of guy to kiss my kids on the lips. I said, "And you look like the type of guy to kiss my kids on the lips." He recently went no beard, just a mustache, so it landed well.
I'm a bus driver, and one of our drivers has a heavy German accent. One day, a Hispanic child missed their stop, but the driver couldn't speak the language. She called dispatch and asked for help, saying the little girl couldn't speak English. The dispatcher replied, "Well, you have that in common."
Overheard a comment in a bar between people I worked with. "Well, that's the first time I've ever been insulted by a Welshman, really. You should get out more."
This was back when I was in the Navy, and I was hanging out with about 6 guys from my department in our berthing. We were just shooting shit, and were also kind of teasing one guy off and on about where he was from. He happened to be Ukrainian, and had grown up near Chernobyl before he moved to the US as a teen. Well, about 10 mins or so into hanging out, we started talking about our preference in women, and the convo went as follows. Ukrainian sailor. I've always preferred my women to be strong. My best friend and irradiated Ukrainian sailor. I swear to God if I hear one more Chernobyl joke. May you'll what? Melt down.
A chiropractor told me that I needed to be more spontaneous and not so rigid and scheduled. I said, "I'll schedule something spontaneous soon." I wasn't trying to be a smart ass either.
Once my friend referred to me as cunt, but in a friendly way. He said, "Hey cunt." I instantly replied, "At your cervix." We had a good laugh.
On FB many years ago, one of my friends was stuck on the actual poop cruise. They have a documentary on Netflix about the whole experience. Anyway, I'm guessing they had gotten things up and going on the ship after everything went down because they were being towed, and my friend was able to post updates on FB. He posted that the plan was that they were going to be towed to Louisiana, and he was looking forward to hitting the casinos as soon as they docked. Another friend posted, "Hey, why not? Your luck has been great so far."
When I was growing up, my very short grandpa measured my height. I was 510 that day. He jokingly said, "I'm closer to 6 feet than you are." My grandma immediately replied, "Yeah, closer to 6 feet under."
I beat my mom in a card game she is very good at. She said, "Oh, you son of a bitch," and I just stared at her and said, "Yeah."
It's not a comeback, but I had never heard it before. I ran into someone, and they mentioned that his girlfriend broke up with him, and he was like, "Yeah, she pulled an Einstein, said she needed time and space."
Like 25 years ago, my best friend said,